Hello and welcome to CNN News 18 with me, Aashutoshsrivastava. Ladies and gentlemen, the centre has filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court opposing same-sex marriage. The centre cited Indian culture and said petitioners cannot claim the right to same-sex marriage even after the decriminalization of homosexuality, which took place in 2018. The centre also told the Supreme Court that same-sex relationships and heterosexual relationships are clearly distinct classes and cannot be treated identically. So that is the pitch coming in from the centre. Remember, in 2017, the Supreme Court strengthened the right to privacy and also recognized sexual orientation as an essential attribute of an individual's privacy and dignity. So the legal tussle over same-sex marriage will only continue in the top court, and now it has put the focus directly on the reverberations of what we saw in 2018, where the Supreme Court decriminalized homosexual sex, overturning a British colonial era law and expanded constitutional rights for LGBTQ people. Now the push has emerged for same-sex marriage, and why this is coming in now is also because in 2022 the Apex Court instituted protections for what it called atypical families. It's a broad category that includes single parents, blended families, or kinship relationships and same-sex couples. The court said that such non-traditional manifestations of families are equally deserving of benefits under various social welfare legislations. So if you will, the path has been set for this entire push for same-sex marriage, and now this entire thing is before the Supreme Court. But what the centre has pointed out is that Indian culture is the supreme kind of arbiter when it comes to marriage, and saying that same-sex marriage is against Indian culture. The Supreme Court, the centre, in its affidavit said that petitioners cannot claim the right to same-sex marriage even after the decriminalization of homosexuality, which took place in 2018. Let's get to our guest. I'm joined by Aashutoshsrivastava. He's a lawyer of the Supreme Court. Ashutosh, decode the kind of legal parameters surrounding this entire push for same-sex marriage. What the Supreme Court ruled in 2022 when it said that such non-traditional manifestations of families are equally deserving of benefits under various social welfare legislation. Do we see the legal cobblestones, if you will, have been set in place for same-sex marriage?
As we know that Supreme Court has not yet decided this issue, and this is pending, and let's see, the matter is pending for tomorrow for further hearings. So far as, the Supreme Court had struck down, Section 377 of IPC earlier and said that the same gender people can have the relationship, sexual relationship, and that is not at all a punishable offense at present. However, so far as marriage is concerned between the same gender, that is concerned, so that is pending. And, the affidavit which has been filed by the central government, when it was asked by the Supreme Court to do so, it says that, the same-sex marriage is, should not be promoted. And it has cited so many grounds for the same. And one of it is like as we see the cultural and traditions of our country. And also I would say that there are scientific research where the children, their growth is concerned. It is said that opposite sex couple can, protect and can take care of the children in a better way. And not only in India, it has been discussed in many other countries. And we know that many of the countries like China and Russia, they have also advocated against this same-sex marriage. So it is a concept which I think a very debatable thing, and Supreme Court will have to see both the sides and the consequence of allowing or disallowing such kind of same-sex marriage, and so far as other laws are concerned. So if it allows, then there will be a lot of impact on the other laws like inheritance of properties, then so many other laws like Domestic Violence Act, and many other laws are there which will have its impact if it is allowed. So I mean, at present we cannot say that the Supreme Court has paved any way for such passing of the act, or making some changes in the existing laws. So far as at present it is unlawful. we'll have to see in what direction it goes and what is the public opinion that will also matter for issues like this when any matter is pending before any court.
Right, but at the same time, Ashutosh, it's about how you see marriage from a legal standpoint. Now, as per the center's affidavit, it seems that they're trying to create the argument that marriage is meant for procreation between a biological man and a biological woman and the creation of a family as per Indian values. But at the same time, marriage is also seen as a social contract between two consenting adults. So where is the legality pointing towards when it comes to that debate between those two definitions?
See, there are personal laws pertaining to different religions. So far as Hindus are concerned, there is a Hindu Marriage Act. Section 5 of the Act defines, the conditions for a legal marriage, which says that there should be a biological husband, a biological woman as wife and the children. So here, if the same-sex marriage is allowed, then what happens to the children? There will be adoption of the children, about their upbringing, about the values. See, different countries may have different opinions, and their traditions and their customs may be different, so far as our country is concerned. So all these aspects together, have to be taken into consideration so that, even if suppose in the same sex also there are, the degrees of prohibited relationship. So even if it is say, if it is opposite sex, so it is not that anybody can marry anybody. There are restricted relationships also. Mm-hmm. So all these aspects have to be seen into light while deciding such kind of a serious issue. So let's see how it goes in the court further.
Right, Ashutosh, and beyond the stigma, and let's face it, there is that stigma that goes against same-sex couples. Is there any evidence to back up the fact that same-sex couples cannot bring up children? They they hamper when it comes to, they are hampering when it comes to child rearing, because beyond the realm of the stigma, beyond the realm of making, let's say, a political point that same-sex couples cannot raise children, is there any evidence backing that stand from the other side?
There are certain scientific research which were conducted by some of the countries while deciding such a crucial issue. And these research, if you see, they also say the same, that opposite sex couple, they can raise the children in a better way. So I am not backing or anything, but this is a research which says like that. But it doesn't mean that, the same kind of scientific research will be applicable to every country. But I mean the moral, the dignity, the decency and the comfort level of people, whether recognizing, not recognizing such kind of same-sex marriage has to be considered by the court, and also considering the future aspects as to what kind of children and how they will be taken care of, and what will be the scenario of the country when all these children are raised up, in the country in future. So I think the court will be very serious to take a step in such kind of a crucial matter, and this will have impact for a long term for our country. So this is what I feel. The court will apply its mind and will take everything into consideration, including the scientific research and the legal aspects and the constitutional rights and the different personal laws of different religions, and their also views and opinions, which will be considered by the court while making any further decision.
Right. You're making the point that the cultural ramifications of a move like this cannot be ignored by the highest court of the country. But just by the letter of the law, Ashutosh, when in 2017, when the Supreme Court recognized sexual orientation as an essential attribute of an individual's privacy and dignity, do you think just by going by that legal standpoint, that marriage is a legal reality that can lie ahead when it comes to all the cobblestones that the Supreme Court has put together when it comes to individual dignity? We are making the cultural point that, of course, you have a lot to consider when it comes to the impact on Indian society. But just as per the law, as per the rulings of the Supreme Court in the past, do you think the legal cobblestones have been laid for an eventual realization of same-sex marriage?
Yes, to some extent we can say to the fact that the Supreme Court, after striking down Section 377, which was an offense to have any sort of physical relation between the same sex, and that was, decided by the Supreme Court while certain petitions came up. So it laid down a foundation that the people should have their own sexual orientation, and that should not be an offense at least. So now, so far as marriage is concerned, it is obviously a different aspect. It talks about the family, upbringing of the children, and a lot of other aspects in the society. So we'll have to see. It is very difficult even for the Supreme Court to consider each and every aspect and make a final decision on this. We know as of now around 34 countries, though they recognize same-sex marriage, but there are many other countries who have, after their research and a lot of discussions and public opinions, they have advocated against the same-sex marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a mixed view, but yes, I do agree to the extent that since Supreme Court, had said that same-sex people can stay together, and there should not be any sort of criminality so far as their relationship is concerned. So that was something one had, but now when the family issue comes, we'll have to see how it is going to look into it.
Right. I'm also joined by Yuvraj Gokul on the broadcast. Thank you, Mr. Gokul, for joining us on CNN News 18. I want to get your perspective on this. How do you see the concept of same-sex marriage? Do you see that as a social contract between two consenting adults, or do you see that as a threat to the Indian family as it has been argued by the centre?
See, there should be a balance for everything. We should not be homophobic is my point. But at the same time, we have to listen to what central government is saying, because central government also has to keep a balance of the society. They have favored in decriminalizing the same sex, homosex. But when it comes to marriage, as I don't know who was speaking before, he is right. Because when it comes to marriage, there are a lot of other constraints, there are a lot of other things we have to take into consideration. Because particularly in India, when two people marry, not just two people are coming together, two families are coming together, two big clans are coming together. There are a lot of values involved in it. It's about upbringing of the next generation. So when two people marry, in the Indian viewpoint or our cultural viewpoint, it is not just about any sex or pleasure or anything. It's about it's about a broader thing. It's about a bigger thing. It's about our values. It's about our coming generations. It's about many other things. But at the same point of time, we should be very compassionate towards these people who are homosexual for many reasons. There may be genetical issues, there may be some other issues, and some people are telling that these are not issues, it is all about being normal. We should see it in that viewpoint. I appreciate everything, I respect everything, and I want to respect every viewpoint. But at the meantime, everybody, not just the government, not just the court, not just the normal people, but they also, the homosexual people, they also should be concerned about other people's views also. And the central government has taken a very good stand in supporting the decriminalizing the homosex. But when it comes to marriage, we have to keep many other things in our mind.
Right. So we have to take all the society on board. That is the pitch coming in from Yuvraj Gokul. Thank you, Aashutoshsrivastava and Yuvraj Gokul, for sharing your perspective on this heated debate, which is now before the Supreme Court, getting some more news and updates when it comes to the